Welcome back to my Unranked Master Challenge with only off-meta junglers. In episode 3, we are going to cover the rest of the games from Garen, Singed, and Sett. So far, Singed and Sett were fun, but a mixed bag success-wise, and Garen was just insane. We only dropped a single game, pretty much blasted through the rift, and won everything. Solid, good clear. Like, I'll get into the details later on, but man, Garen is strong. As a champion, just too strong, I think. Spoiler alert for day 9. It was incredible. We won. We were on a winning spree. We were dominating on pretty much every single champion. We had good comeback games, good mental, good teammates. I have no idea what was going on, but sometimes you have these lucky days on the Rift. Cherish it as long as it lasts. So we immediately started off with a MVP game on Singed, and that champion is really growing on me. It's unbelievably fun to play him in the jungle. I think overall his just entire kit is just designed to be fun. You can't really take the game that serious when you're playing Singed. And then we also played full crit Garen. I don't want to spoil anything here, but it was an interesting one. We also dominated on Sett jungle, and overall just tested a bit, played around with the builds and the runes. We only dropped a single match the entire day. We got another quick and easy win on Garen, no surprise here. It's just, if you get a good team, it's unbelievably simple to play good on him and have good stats. The E is just, everything is just so overpowered in his kit. Nothing else really special about this game, honestly. It was just easy, good teammates, good champion, good clear. He's just slightly OP, and doesn't really matter where you play him or what kind of build you go, he's strong. The last game was a little bit tricky and we struggled a little bit. It was one of those comeback games. Yorick is just extremely annoying to deal with pretty much all the champions I played during this episode, right? Singed just completely gets countered by this W by Yorick, and then the main also does so much HP-based percentage damage that it's a really strong pick into Singed. Of course, if you can zoom around and if you're fast enough and he doesn't hit his W, then you can kite him and make sure that you don't get hit too much, by the shovel and the maiden. But if you get stuck in the W, in the weird circle thingy, in the cage, then you're kind of screwed. Because your entire advantage is being fast and kiting people, right? And being annoying. But we did stay strong and we won in the end. On day 10, with the last rotation of these 3 champions, we started off strong again, picked up where we left off on the last day, and immediately won on Garen. Surprise, surprise. It's just, I can't lose on that champion. Unless someone goes AFK, there's always something you can do with this champion. Even if you're behind, even if you don't have a good game, just look for a shutdown somewhere, press R, and you get all the gold, and then you get some items. And suddenly you're a behemoth and you can just run over everyone. I don't know, it just works. I don't know, we're still in a lower elo. Not really low elo, but lower elo. It might start to be more difficult once we get to Diamond Masters, but Garen is solid. Like, if you are anywhere below Plat, you can easily jungle Garen and do great with it. It's just so simple to play and so strong. Next up, the entire hype faded down a little bit. I was already thinking, man, we're gonna have another good day. The day 9 was amazing. We're just gonna do the same thing today and blast through the rift and win everything. Hell no. Next game was unbelievably unpleasant. Back to the normal League of Legends experience. You know how it goes, guys. There was just not much I can do. After that, we had to mentally recover a bit, and I thought the best way to do that is test a new build and have some fun. So we went full tank Sett. That means hard steel first, and as many tank items as possible afterwards. Hydra, Titanic Hydra, to amplify that tankiness and also get some damage from it. And the first thing I can say is it's not as fun. It's just not as fun as, for example, the Bruiser type with Blade of Rune King or Sundered Sky. That kind of brawler 1v1 playstyle. You have a lot more damage there. And with the tank one, your clear is slower, your 1v1 is bad, or worse. You can still 1v1 people, it just takes forever to actually get them. And you're a tank. It's just the tank experience. You stand in front, you annoy the enemy team, you soak up the damage, and you let your teammates do the heavy lifting afterwards and picking up the kills and everything, and carrying, essentially. And also another thing, it does take longer to hit your spikes. So a hard steel finished takes a lot longer because also your clear is slower than, for example, a stride breaker first. Or even a Blade of Rune King feels easier to get fast because you have more damage to clear the camps faster and more efficient. Once you have 1 or 2 items completed and a couple of stacks on hard steel, then it starts getting a little bit more fun. It is crazy how much value you can have in a team fight with tank Sett. They will struggle getting through your HP and your shield, and with your Q, HP based damage, and especially your W, if you place it right, you actually still have so much impact damage wise. It's crazy. And like I said before, okay, the 1v1s are not great, but if you have 2 items, for example, Heartsteel and Titanic, you could still 1v1 almost everyone, unless they're like a Vayne or something, right? But you will win most 1v1s. It just takes a lot longer, and the enemy team might catch up or they get away. And Sett's general problem, you can always get kited, right? But it's not bad. So it's definitely playable, it's definitely solid, but boring. Out of all the builds we tested, you know, with Stridebreaker, with full damage bruiser, on hit, all that kind of stuff, full tank is just boring. Play it if you're a Sett fanatic or you really want to play Sett and your team still needs a tank. You can for sure do it. I think there's nothing wrong in recommending it. It's definitely playable. Now after full tank, I thought, okay, let's experiment more. And I had this idea of amplifying the W as much as possible. So playing like a shield Sett, anything that amplifies shields, and then also go for shield bash, right? And so I went Eclipse, Sundered Sky, I wanted to go Spirit Visage, and Sterex. That was basically kind of like the build setup I wanted to go for, but boy oh boy, Eclipse first is not it. You are way too squishy, the damage doesn't really, like it's negligible, it's not that great, it kind of delays, like Sett just needs HP, surprise surprise. So once we had the Sundered Sky completed after Eclipse, it already felt a bit better, but still too squishy, still not that great. You were very strong in a 1v1, yes, but you couldn't really do the job of Sett of jumping into the enemy team and having a lot of impact in the middle, you know, in the thick of the fight. It just didn't feel great. Once I had more items though, like once we were talking 3, 4, maybe even full items, then this build actually felt amazing. And your shields are very, very strong. Your 1v1, your team fight, everything suddenly amplifies, right? And suddenly you are very, very strong. And one team fight can completely turn around the game, and that's exactly what happened. Overall, not the greatest build. I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to go for like a full shield amplifier, skip the Eclipse, go for Sundered Sky first, or even go with Trinity first or something like that, and then just get your Sterex and your Spirit Visage as fast as possible. Last game of the day was then sadly a loss, and it was just a gigantic team gap. What can I say? Top was just giga gapped. It's hard to play if your top lane is really struggling that hard, especially against a champion like Yorick that can split push so well. 1v1 almost anyone, counters me, so that was really hard to get a grasp on the game when top lane suffered so much early on. The entire team just did not do well. It is what it is. That was the last game and we lost, but overall it was really fun playing these 3 champions for sure. Singed was the most fun, even though the win rate doesn't reflect that, sadly. Sett the same thing. Sett always felt solid. I felt really good playing that champion. I enjoyed it. I felt like the clear was fine, the objectives are fine, the team fights are amazing, the comeback potential is insane. Somehow we ended up with 40% win rate, you know, it is what it is. Garen, 90% win rate, 90%, and I think the one loss we had was with an AFK. So we almost went out with 100%, 10 out of 10 wins on Garen. It's nuts. Okay, so some more final thoughts, you know, about the 3 champions and overall what I felt. If we're talking about fun, Singed is definitely number 1. He is the highest rank. If we're strictly talking about how fun is the champion to play, the ganks out of the jungle with your ult and ghost is just, it's a fun. I can only repeat myself over and over. Try it. Trust me, try it in normal first, please, not in ranked, you know, let's be fair towards our teammates. But try it out. There's something special about it. And then running onto the lane, you know, flipping them into your team, it's so much fun. And the pick potential you have in the late game to carry a game with one good pick, because you're just that fast to engage on someone. If you have, for example, an enemy Victor, right, is usually very fed in late game, very strong, and a prime target. If you have a good flank or a very good engage and flip him into your team, that can carry a game. That one single action, right? He's overall not the best at farming and not the best at ganking, but he can do both quite okay. Once you have Liandrys, you can actually power farm quite decently. The bigger buffs, like the blue buff and the red buff, are not that fast to clear, but the Raptor Camp, Golems, that kind of stuff, you can really comfortably farm. And you can also invade quite nicely and counter farm, which is also good. Some matchups are just really terrible though. You don't want to play against the Yorick, you don't want to play into a Zillion support or something. These champions really mess you up. You need the movement speed, you need the freedom. Overall, I think hard CC is kind of a counter for you. It's a bit like Master Yi. If Master Yi is left unchecked without CC, he can just do whatever he wants. Same for Singed. with the difference being that Singed is more like a team setup, and Master Yi is a 1v9 carry or a 1v1 champion. Garen is just... I've said what I needed to say a bunch of times. Very, very simple, mechanically not challenging, very strong, good clear, decent on objectives, good in team fights. You can always pick out, you know, an important target and ult them into the face, and just, you can get shutdown gold. It's good champion. I hate to say it because I don't like simple champions. I'm not a fan of Veigar. I'm not a fan of point and click ults, but Garen is good. Try it out, give it a go. Very strong. One of the drawbacks would probably be also the ganks, because it's just a linear gank. You just run towards people. So if there's a Janna or Nami, so anything that can just, you know, disengage easily or slow you, knock you up, whatever, your W is not enough tenacity to warrant to continue the gank afterwards. You also have to walk through wards. You can't, you know, jump over a wall for a sneaky gank. Ganking is not the greatest, but you can't really get invaded. 1v1 and you're very strong. Your clear is decent, so yeah, it's good champion. Sett is also pretty similar to Singed, very, very fun to play. Very fun to play. I always felt great. Biggest upside, I think, is the comeback potential, truly. Other than that, I would say, yeah, decent clear. Not the fastest, not the slowest. Objectives are fine with your Q. 1v1s are stronger than you'd think, but you are super easy to run, like, very easy to kite or disengage. So similar to Garen, the ganks are just not that good. And yeah, tank build felt better than expected. So I think that's also an upside I really enjoy about Sett. There's a billion different build paths you can go. There's so many items that are good on this champion. You can always adapt to your team and to the enemy team. I think that's a huge plus and upside because you can first pick Sett. First of all, it's a flex pick, so people will think it's top lane or maybe even support. They won't think about jungle. So it's a good first pick. You can always safely pick it. And then you can just adapt to what you need. If you still need a tank, you can go full tank. If you need, you know, a lot of damage, you can go on hit or bruiser, and you can just see whatever, you know, the team needs and what the enemy team comp is picking. Overall progress update, I'm struggling a little bit with all the editing and getting everything sorted and organized. So we're already a little bit further ahead in the whole challenge. We're already at like Platinum 1 or 2, almost Emerald, and played 10 Galio games already. So I can't really show you right now where we are at after playing Singed, Garen, and Sett, but I can show you the overall LP gains or losses with those 3 champions. So sadly, the u.gg is not really updating. It says that I only played 8 games on those champions, which is not true. So I can only give you the preliminary numbers. They're not fully updated yet, but you know, it is what it is. So here it says that we played 9 Garen games, won 8, lost 1. So we got a 89% win rate with a total 5.3 KDA, so kind of insane. And we made a total of 160 LP plus. This is by far the biggest gain we had on any champion so far, and will probably be the biggest overall until the end of the project. And crazy to think is that there's actually 1 game missing that we also won. So it's 180 LP probably in the end. On both Sett and Singed, we had 4 wins and 6 losses, so 40% win rate, sadly. But I think it's not completely reflective, and it should have been a bit more. We had some unlucky teams. We weren't really sure how to play it yet. We had, you know, some griefers because of the picks, and it is what it is though. Overall, we still made plus on both. We made plus 23 on Sett and plus 29 on Singed. Again, I think this could be higher or should be higher, and is not completely reflective, but we're only playing 10 games. That's how it's going to be for now. Maybe I'll revisit these champions at some point. Also, if you guys want to see more of those champions, I will surely play them more. And if you have some, you know, build ideas or some advice or something you want to see, I will also pick them back up once we're through the rest of the main champion pool. Thank you for watching, everyone. I will hopefully see you back in episode 4, which, by the way, will be only Galio. And I can already give you a little bit of a teaser. It's much better than you think.